Welcome to FineScale Modeler Weekly. We start off this episode with an iconic British aircraft from World War II.
This HobbyBoss 148 scale Hurricane Mk.I is an all-new tool kit of the early version of the Hawker fighter.
The Mk.I, armed with 8 .303 caliber machine guns, was a mainstay of the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain.
This kit represents the later Mk.I with an all-metal wing. The kit's wings are marked with plenty of fine recessed rivets and panel lines. Similar detail marks the forward fuselage, while the rear features stressed fabric over longerons, also seen on the stabilizers. Leading-edge inserts add the openings for the machine guns, and the ammunition bay doors are separate, but no internal detail is provided. The belly radiator has a one-piece opening.
The cockpit has good detail, including the footboards, seat, and armored headrest, fine framing, and controls. Photo-etched brass seat belts are provided. The instrument panel is molded in clear plastic with decal dials. The gear legs receive plastic wheels wrapped with rubber tires. The prop and separate spinner are complemented by exhausts molded in halves to provide open pipes.
In addition to the windshield and sliding canopy with defined frames, clear plastic supplies landing and wingtip navigation lights. Colorful decals give markings for 4 Hurricanes. A number 242 Squadron bird with vivid artwork flown by William Mk.I, a fighter from number 306 Polish Fighter Squadron, an aircraft apparently flown by Czech fighter ace Josef František, and another from number 303 Squadron, another of the Polish units in the RAF.
Uncomplicated but decently detailed, this HobbyBoss Hurricane looks like it could be a fun project.
Round 2 has really been on a roll lately with all new tool kits, including our next 2 features.
First up, a 1/25th scale 1992 Chevy C1500 Silverado Fleetside short bed pickup from AMT.
The front body is a single part with sharp trim molding, door outlines, and fan guard details. The hood is molded separate, but this curbside kit's only engine detail is a plate. This kit, with its frame and underside that has the exhaust and suspension molded on, is designed as an easy build.
The interior tub with door details and a console gets a pair of bucket seats and a dash with separate instrument cluster. The bed features sharp interior and exterior details and a separate tailgate. Optional wing mirrors are offered. The windshield and backlight are separate, and the head and tail lights are given in clear plastic.
Chrome-plated parts include the front and rear bumpers, grills and headlight bezels, mirrors, and a choice of factory or styled steel wheels. Both receive good rubber tires and mount on steel axles. The decals provide the instrument cluster and a radio for the dash, badging in a choice of colors and styles, hubcaps, tailgate logos, and license plates from Texas and Indiana. The other kit is from the same Chevy truck body style, but more of a working vehicle, a 1996 Chevy C3500 extended cab dually pickup.
The Beast's cab is mostly a single part with well-molded trim, as is the long bed with flared wheel wells. That all fits onto the frame and underside that includes the exhaust, suspension, and drivetrain molded on. As with the C1500, this kit is curbside with no engine under the separate hood, but there is an engine plate for the underside. The wheels are available in chrome and plain plastic for the rubber tires and use wire axles.
The interior tub has a rear seat molded in and gets front seats and a dash. In addition to the wheels, the chrome parts provide the bumpers, front grille, and mirrors. Clear plastic supplies the windshield, rear windows, and head and tail lights. Nicely printed decals detail the dash and supply badging, license plates for Michigan and Utah, and logos for a ranch and a trash removalist.
Designed as they are to be easy build, these truck kits are exactly that, simple and straightforward.
In a past new product rundown, we looked at ICM's tiny 1/350th scale Kriegsfischkutter.
Now the Ukrainian company revisits the kit in greater detail in 1/144th scale.
These armed boats, based on fishing trawlers, were used for patrol, reconnaissance, and anti-submarine duties.
The hull, split along the keel, features nice molded details outside and in. There's molded planking on the deck and gun platforms, and structural details on the deck house. A stand is included.
Small details like the railings, guns, life rings, depth charges, masts, anchor, winches, davits, and screw all look sharp. Clear plastic supplies deckhouse windows and navigation lights.
As with its smaller sibling, this kit has no decals, but painting diagrams show 2 camouflage patterns from 1944.
While 1/144 scale isn't the most common scale for ships, there are some submarine models that this would look good with, say in a diary. It is going to be very tough for us to do justice to our last kit this week.
Just judging by the size of the box alone, it's clear there are lots of parts in Trumpeter's 1/35th scale BAZ 6403 with CHMZAP 9990071 trailer.
Whew. Hell, just the name of this Russian tank transporter is a mouthful.
So let's get an eyeful.
Starting with the one-piece cab with separate doors, which along with the engine and other drivetrain parts fits into beautifully molded frame rails. Springs and the wishbone suspension connect to 8 wheels with big vinyl tires. Inside, there's a detailed dash, controls, and seats. The windows go in from the inside and pre-cut masks are provided.
The trailer has long 2-part frame rails with sturdy cross members under the transport platform. The ramps are designed to be movable. It all sits on 12 wheels. Photo-etched brass parts include frame brackets, steps, racks, and more. A small decal sheet provides styles for the instrument panels, and the marking diagram shows a single generic transporter in overall green.
Since this thing will be more than 22 inches long when it's finished, it will be an imposing model.
And it would look even more impressive with a T72 or T90 on the trailer.
Look for reviews of the Hurricane, KFK, Chevy trucks, and hopefully this BAZ 6403 at FineScale.com.
Where we have plenty of other crunchy how-to stuff. Check it out.
We offer some great references at CombatHobbyStore.com, including these detail and scale titles that are hard to beat for usefulness at the workbench.
FineScale Modeler Weekly is brought to you by HobbyZone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs.
Decal setting solutions. Every company out there, if they're making paint, they're probably making a decal setting solution or a 2-part decal setting solution. Whether it's AK Interactive, Vallejo, Tamiya, GSI Krios, you name it, they've probably got a decal setting solution for you. Now, I'm not going to go through all of those decal setting solutions, but what I do want to discuss is, 1, why would we want a decal setting solution? And 2, what are they? So let's start with why would we want them? We use decals on our models. We want those decals to lay as flatly, as close to the paint as possible so that they appear to be painted on, right? And so what a decal setting solution will do is help soften the film of the decal so that it not only settles against the surface and adheres well, but it'll also allow the details beneath to show through, whether that means the decal settling into creases and crevices or allowing details like a rivet or other protrusions, right, to show through the decal and it appear to be painted on. What, pray tell, would allow the decal to do that? Well, let's start off with these guys. First, we have the 2-part decal setting solution from Tamiya. What we have here is Tamiya Mark Fit decal solution and Mark Fit Strong. Now, what's the difference between the 2 of these? The decal solution is meant to be put onto the model where the decal is going to go. You float your decal into that, put some water on it, get all of the bubbles out, settle it down, and then you put the strong over the top of it. At least that's the theory, right? And then the strong will help the decal soften and settle down while the setting solution will keep it adhered to the surface and less movable. Here we have Mr. Mark Softer from GSI Krios, which is the companion product to Mr. Mark Setter. Those 2 products are very much like Tamiya's decal setting solution and Mark Stronger. And then finally, we have Walther's Solvaset decal setting solution. This is a 1-part setting solution. It doesn't have the other part to it. And really, as Aaron has said in a previous video about decaling, this is the solution that you bring to the project when absolutely nothing else will work on your decal. We've actually watched this dissolve decals. And that's something that I want to bring up about all of these particular solutions, is that the chemical compounds, right, that are used in these, the active ingredients are very much basically used in paint thinners and paint strippers. You look at the safety data sheets and it just bears it out. You open them up and I don't recommend smelling them, but when you do open them, they do give off a chemical smell, and it is very much paint thinner, okay? So when you're applying these, be very careful about if you get it on your paint or your clear coat of the model. Try and keep the solutions as localized as possible to the decal, right? Either under the decal or right on top of the decal, because it can affect your paint, right? And then one other thing, and I will circle back and say this again later on, make sure you test these things first. If you decide that you're gonna go out and get this decal setting solution from Tamiya, test it first. Test it on something that you don't care about, right? That way you know exactly how it's going to react. Now, I'm gonna put these over here off to the side and show you the decal setting solutions that I use the most, Microset and Microsol from Microscale. Microset is the first of the two-part solution, which you brush on to the surface of the model where you're going to float the decal, just like you would with the Tamiya two-part solution, right? Microset is acetic acid, or otherwise known as vinegar, in a 20% solution. So 20% or less vinegar, and then the rest water. Your Microsol is something that is called butoxyethanol, and butoxyethanol is used in, you guessed it, paint strippers and thinners, right? But again, it's in a diluted solution, so it's 20% of butoxyethanol or less, and then the rest of it, water. All right, and as you can see, after just a couple of minutes, the decal has conformed to pretty high prominence there, and then these got lower here. There was a little valley between here and then this detail up there, and that decal has just laid quite nicely down over all of that. So here's the thing, it may not work entirely the first time. You put the Microset on and then you put the Microsol over the top of it, and maybe you see a few wrinkles, or it doesn't conform entirely over, a series of rivets or some other detail underneath. What you can do then is just, once that's dried down, go ahead and reapply the Microsol, okay? Now at times, I've done 3, 4, even 5 applications of Microsol just to make sure that that decal gets down as low and as tight to the details underneath as possible. Again, you might ask, well, why not use something a little bit more potent? Usually my answer to that is, I would rather take the time, use something that is less likely to eat through the decal or eat into the surrounding paint. And just take my time and make sure that it gets done to my satisfaction. If you want to go ahead and use something other than that, completely up to you. It's all about what you're comfortable with. Now, here we go. The question is, do you need a decal solution? You can go ahead and you can put decals on your model without decal solution. But I will say this. Using a decal solution, whether it's a 2-part or a 1-part, remember, be careful with it. Test somewhere else first. But using a decal solution is going to up your decaling game to the point where once you use them, you'll never go back to not using them.
So, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada for Heritage Con. And while we were there, we picked up the gallery models 1/200 scale Yamato that Harvey Lowe built for the magazine and is going to be featured in the September-October issue.
Yeah, this year, 2023, so just a couple months from now.
Yep, exactly.
So if you guys were following us on Facebook, right, you probably saw us load it into the back of the van and then bring it home. The that model is something 60 inches long. There's a lot of model there, right? And while here at FineScale Modeler headquarters, we've got facilities to, take photos of it. We really want the best photos possible because it's going to be on the cover of the magazine. So we're going to enlist some help from
Saturn Lounge, which is a company that Kalmbach owns and does video and photo services for a lot of different clients. So we're going to take the model to them.
Saturn Lounge. They're local to us here in Waukesha, and we thought you would like to see behind the scenes on how we take photos of, or how, in this case, Saturn Lounge takes photos of a model, and a big one at that, for the cover of the magazine.
So let's go to Saturn Lounge.
To Saturn Lounge! Wow, that was quite the experience.
Yes, that was something else, seeing a model that big being manhandled on a table.
And it is now back here, safe at FineScale Modeler headquarters and in its case.
In its permanent home here.
Yes.
So,
Anyway, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed everything that you've seen.
if you're watching us on YouTube and you like what we're doing, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you're watching us on FineScale.com,
leave a comment in the section below, and even if you're on YouTube, you got comments, questions, concerns, again, the comments below, we read them. Or you can go ahead and talk to us directly. Send us an email at editor@finescale.com.
Until then, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Round 2 is really Bono. In a past new product rundown, we looked at
With CHMZAP 9990010. Oh shoot!
What we have here is a failure to communicate. All right. It's not misinformation. Left movable. It adheres better. Less movable. That's what that means. If it's stuck down, it doesn't move as much. Decal. Mark Fit Stronger. Ooh, there's a lot of funky names there. There's a lot of marks. Look at Tim. Look at him fall down over and over. Just in time.